help us that as we are looking at 2025 in review, there are so many things that have happened in the United States of America, in Vatican. There are so many things that are happening. Prophecy is running so fast, such that there are other things that we are not even going to cover, but they happened. But the good thing is God is still seated on the throne and he's still in charge of whatever is happening in this world today. And that is the more sure word of prophecy. We know that God is still in control.
Yes, as you see, as a student of prophecy, this is what we've been saying. 2025, and the year is on review. We are seeing this is the new Pope, isn't it?
Yes,
and on the other hand is who?
This is Vance.
This is Vance,
the Vice President of the United States of America.
Are we seeing the two players in action?
Yes.
We can be able to see the two players that are in action right on our screen. And as you said, we need to be aware, we need to be watchful. This happened immediately after Pope Francis actually died, and we're going to see that. And immediately, J.D. Vance immediately went where? Went to Vatican. And we are going to see this in detail. So all this happened, and these are the two players. One is on the other side, and are you seeing they're happy, isn't it? I've never seen these two players sad, isn't it? They're happy, and we're being told in Daniel chapter, is it 11? We have to be watchful on the cards that are being played under the table. It is funny. We're being told, can you read for us what we're being told there?
This is Testimonies, Volume 5, page 451. It says, when Protestantism shall stretch her hands across the gulf to grasp the hand of the Roman power, when she shall reach over the abyss to clasp hands with spiritualism, when under the influence of this threefold union, our country shall repudiate every principle of its constitution as a Protestant and Republican government, and shall make provision for the propagation of purple falsehood and delusions, then we may know that the time has come for the marvelous workings of Satan, and that the end is near.
So who represents Protestantism in this table? Apostate Protestantism or Protestantism we are seeing is none other than America.
Yes.
And we are seeing, by the way, Vance is a professed Catholic, isn't it? But America symbolizes, actually, it is the second beast, but actually it plays a bigger role in the image of the what? The image of the beast. But when we are being told that when Protestant shall stretch a hand across the gulf, holding the hand of the Roman power, this is what they are doing. Somebody does not wake up in the morning and go to Vatican. No. These people, they know what they are doing. They say under the clasp of spiritualism, this is what the Protestants are doing. Under the threefold union, the country shall repudiate every principle as a Protestant and a what?
A Republican.
I wonder which government we are in America. Republican principles, isn't it? It carries
religious, the principles of religion.
Yes.
That is the Republican. The Democrat, they don't have anything to do with God. That's why you see during the time of the former president, everything used to go down. The LGBT community, everything they didn't care about Christianity. But when Trump is in the government, you hear a lot of America should go back to God. We should every house should have a Bible. All those things we are hearing because Republican is more of religion, so to speak, quote unquote.
So we are being told that when we see this, then we may know it is time for the marvelous working of Satan, and the end is the marvelous working of Satan is when Satan will come as God. GC 6:24, and say that he has changed the day from Saturday to Sunday. So this will happen at the time the National Sunday law is passed. So when we see this, we know we are at the end. Now, this is one of the things we go fast because time is rushing. One of the things that happened in 2025 is what?
Is the death of Pope Francis, and it was so strategic because We saw Pope on Easter. He was there on Easter Sunday, and he died the following day. He was there waving people. And J.D. Vance, by the way, he was already in Vatican. On Easter, he was in Vatican, and he was there. Even when the Pope was pronounced dead, he was already there. So you are seeing that this is one of the big things that happened in this year, the death of Pope Francis. Of course, we know the work that Pope Francis did. He did a lot of work about climate change, to bring the world to recognize that we need a Sabbath rest. And that Sabbath rest is Sunday sacredness. He was someone who propagated so much about our Mother Earth, our Father Sun, our mother, our sister Moon. He wrote a book in 2015 which was talking about that, which is Laudato Si. That's one of the waymarks that the Pope has left, the footprints on earth. Because that book that he wrote, though he's dead now, but that book is still working and it's still being pushed. Even this Pope that has come in, Pope Leo, he said that he's just going to get the mantle from where Pope Francis left. He's going to continue with it. So the death of Pope Francis was something that was huge in 2025 because most of the people, especially some Adventists, they were thinking that this was going to be the last Pope. Yes. This was the Pope that was going to pass the Sunday law. What I usually say and what I read from the spirit of prophecy, it's not about a person, it's about the seat. It's about itself, the papacy. The papacy is not about Pope Francis, it's not about Pope Leo, it's not about Pope Benedict, but it's the system itself. Though Pope Francis is dead, the system will never die. It will continue. And whoever Pope who is going to be there when the Sunday law will be passed, he's just going to follow where all these popes have laid the foundation. Because when you look at Pope John Paul II, he did a lot of work to bring church and state together, to bring to bring people to love the Catholic Church. And even Pope Francis, they used to call him the people's Pope. He used to go to prison, wash the prisoners' feet. He would go. He never stayed in those big houses. He was humble. So most of the people, they loved him. But they loved him because that's a strategy. And remember, Pope Francis was the first, quote unquote, publicly confessed Jesuit, because even Pope Benedict was a Jesuit. But Pope Francis, when he became the Pope, that was 2013. When he became the Pope in 2013, he openly said he was the first Jesuit Pope.
And one of the things other than the Jesuit Pope, which you're going to see further, he advocated one of the things. We're just rushing on the things that he did as when he was Pope. He advocated for gay rights.
Yes.
We saw a magazine say that if someone is gay and seeks the Lord with all goodwill, who am I to do what? So he was more of, is it a conservative Pope in terms of, or a liberal to speak, because
he was a liberal Pope.
Because he went to the extremes. He never wanted he wanted
to keep the traditions of Catholicism. So he was more embracing everyone.
So he wanted to bring everybody together, and he did he popped or to that, and then he says, Pope Francis says, church will apologize to peace. All these things were just passing immediately after we saw in America the same law being passed. Look, I found this in the Jesuit website. Says celebrating the life of the Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. He says that he never lost sight of his what?
Of his Jesuit.
So he did according to the blueprint. He will famously drop on the Jesuits at the headquarters in Rome, special occasions. Perhaps for reasons Jesuits are most grateful to Pope Francis, and the ways he shaped the culture of the church according to his own Jesuit spirituality.
Yes.
So he followed the blueprint.
Yes, and that's why he would go to the prison and kiss the feet of the prisoners, because that's what Jesuits can do. They say they will pretend, they will do everything they say the ends justifies the means. True. If he knows that he's going to gain mileage by doing that, he will do that because he's a Jesuit. That's why they are trained for that.
That's why he pretended once not pretended. After he was inaugurated, he says that his tenure is what? Is short. And actually, he was saying that he will have less than 5 years. But actually, you will see from 2013 to around 2018, he started slowing down. Why? He became sick from that time. So his tenure was short. It's like he had a blueprint. He never ruled as many of the popes did. So we are seeing also Pope Francis chose a guest house, bed over the Vatican, most luxurious address, and we're going to see the Ellen White speaking about that, Pope in a reasonable price car, all these things he did. But let me see, let us try to see what the prophet is saying in Great Controversy 235, paragraph 1. While appearing as members of their order, do you know we have different orders, by the way?
Yes.
We have the Jesuit order, Pope, we have the Benedictine order, Pope, and the Franciscan order, Pope. So, Augustinian, sorry. So this Pope that we are currently having is an Augustinian order. We're going to cover that maybe in future. This other Pope that left was a
Jesuit
order. And the other one was a Benedict order.
Benedict.
So there are various orders that you need to know, but we're going to study that in future. We see that they wore a garb of what? So all of them follow their order. Sanctity, visiting prisons and hospitals, ministering to the sick and the poor, professing to have renowned the world, and bearing sacred name of Jesus, went about doing good. But under this blameless exterior, the most criminal and deadly purposes often what?
We are often concealed.
Do you remember the time that somebody tried to pull his clothes?
Yes.
Was he happy?
He was so upset that people were shocked to see how the Pope reacted, and it was just someone who wanted to hold him.
Yeah, you see, so they don't have one character, they have two characters. At one character, when he was holding the shirt, he almost slapped the baby. But on this other side, you just explained that he did that. We're being told it was a fundamental principle of their order that to end just for the means. By this code, lying, theft, perjury, assassinations were not only pardonable but commendable. They worked and served the interests of the church under various disguises. The Jesuits worked their way into offices of state, climbing up to the councillors of kings and shaping the policy of what?
Of nations.
They became servants to act as spies. Is he pretending to be a servant? Yes. They established colleges for the sons and princes and nobles, for schools of common people, and the children of Protestant parents were drawn into the servants of popish rites. All outward pomp and display of the Romish worship was brought to bear to confuse the mind, dazzle and captivate the imagination. Thus, the liberty of what? For the fathers had toiled and bled, betrayed the sons. The Jesuits rapidly spread themselves over Europe, and wherever they went, they followed the revival of popery. So we see that this Pope, because this quotation talks about the Jesuit order, his major work was to revive what? Popery.
Yes. And that he did very well, because wherever he visited, when he became the Pope, most of the people, they loved him because he was so humble. And that's the Jesuit. You see that their order, they've been trained to do that. So that being humble, it was not something that was coming from deep down his heart, but he was following the order. That's why you are seeing the Jesuit magazine, they say that they love Pope Francis because of the way he incorporated him being a Pope and him being a Jesuit at the same time.
Yes. So on the same note, just when Pope died, and we were seeing some things happening just right after that. So somebody saying that Adventist kids in Catholic schools, because they're affordable, they do all they can. The hospitals. That's
in
what
fact, when you are talking about this, we are uploading something about true education by Joshua White. In fact, today it was talking. I was listening to a presentation by Joshua White, and I've read it. I've also read it from the Broken Blueprint. When you're looking at the Jesuits, this is where they've beaten Protestantism. They came in the form of schools. The Counter-Reformation, they managed to counter Protestantism through schools. So they use the schools, because if you bring your child to a Catholic school,
Mm.
you are not just bringing that child to be educated in the secular education, but they'll also be educated in the ways of the Catholics.
Mm.
They'll be forced to go to the masses. So in one way or the other, that child will be neutralized if they go there as a staunch Adventist. By the time they are finishing their Form 4, they won't come out from the Catholic school as an Adventist, but they'll come out from those schools as neutralized Adventists. And that's what the Pope did when Martin Luther started the Protestantism. There were two of them. The friend of Martin Luther went into the education system to create schools so that Protestant parents can take the children to the schools of Protestants. Now, when the Counter-Reformation came, the Jesuit order was created to counter the protest. What did they do? They also created schools, just like we are seeing in Kenya, even the whole world. Catholics, they have a lot of schools and they've put them to be very cheap so that us Adventists and other Christians, they don't see danger. Then they are looking at their pocket, what they'll save.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the spirituality of the children are being affected because your child, when you take that child to a Catholic school, when he comes back from there, or when she comes back from there, she will never be the same. Those values that you used to hold so dear, they'll be neutralized because when they enter in that convent or they enter in that school, they'll see the things in a different light. The Jesuits, they have this saying, they say, give me your child for the first 7 years, and this child will always be a Catholic. So yes, they may be cheap, but at the expense of their spirituality. So as we are seeing here, it says, under various disguises, the Jesuits worked their ways into offices of state, climbing up to the councillors of kings and shaping the policies of nations. So this is the order of Jesuits. This is their work. They'll start, in fact, the most educated people on earth, they are Jesuits. You can find one person has different degrees in different fields because they want to be all round. You can find that there's a friend that I knew whose friend was a Jesuit. They would come to our campus, and this person, he was a medical doctor, he was an engineer, he was a teacher, he was everything. He has studied up to, so that if they need anyone in that field, he'll be the person to be picked because he has all those qualifications. They are so much educated that most of them, they follow the counsel of the spirit of prophecy. They don't take flesh. They follow the 8 laws of health because they know that for them to have the mind to assimilate all that they are studying, they need to have their mental faculty should be very strong. So this is the work of the Jesuit, and we just saw what Pope Francis did. He has left his footprint on the world.
Yes. So actually, this one is one of predecessor. Now something happened. We see Trump now coming into the scene. Now the second beast. They alternate. Now you're seeing that Project 2025 and the end of America. Remember, just before last year, when this year, when Trump was inaugurated, he disassociated himself with Project 2025. But we are seeing the blueprints all along, the footsteps. We've covered this in the past. So I want you to take time, go to Project 2025 track, and you'll be shocked that we are almost more than 50%. And the majority, once majority of the things, that is plus 50, not 100, they pass plus 50, then we know we are in what? We're in a crisis. That's why when he entered, they say Donald Trump, the president of the divided states of what? Of America. Because division between the churches, division between the political lines, and we are seeing this taking place. So,
and this is also something that is interesting. In 2025, we are seeing the coming back of Donald Trump. And this only happened once in the history of the United States of America. And that happened in the 1800s when the president who was there ruled for 4 years, and then he was defeated. He went back, and then he came back. And in 1888, we saw Sunday was almost passed. And this is the second time that it is happening. Trump was the president, then he was defeated. He went for 4 years, then he has come back.
Very same to Pope Leo the 13th.
Yes.
During that season, Pope Leo the 14th. There's a lot of similarities as a student of prophecy, and we need to wake up. We pray that God may give us a few more years of grace. Now, what did J.D. Vance immediately? We just put that, but now this is the National Catholic Report. J.D. Vance gives Pope Leo the 14th an invitation
from Trump
to visit what?
To visit the US.
Let me tell you, this is very prophetic. The first beast being invited to visit the second beast. We don't know what will happen. And by the way, you know they have to speak the same language. This is from America, and Trump is from America. So the language now, you know, when you speak French and another one speaks German, it will be difficult. That's why you could see the ideologies between Pope Francis and Trump are not together. But this one
they
now,
were always crashing.
Yes.
But behind the scenes, they were together.
Now they are going to wonder. They're going to make the whole world wonder, because now they are from the same scene. Do you remember before you won the papacy? Remember that Trump acted a pope coming from America.
Yes.
Let me tell you, these scripts are just in place. You're being told by Ellen White, let it be remembered, it is the boss of Rome that she never does what? Change.
Changes.
Pope Gregory the Seventh and Innocent the Third are still the principles of the Romish Church. And had she but the power, she will put them in what? In practice. As with much vigor now, as in the past centuries, let the principle once established where?
In the United States.
That's why he wants to go there again. That the church may employ to control the power of the state, that the religious observance may be enforced by secular laws. In short, that the authority of the church and state is to dominate the conscience, and the triumph of Rome in this country is assured. Are we seeing the church and state coming together in America? We are seeing that. Is it controlling the conscience? How everything is related to religion. Everything, whether it's taxes, whether it's business, whether it is military, whether it is everything, the church takes into shape. And let me tell you, you're being told, once it dominates this, then Rome papacy dominates again. So we want to see something else that happened in this time. That another thing is the death of who?
Of Charlie Kirk.
Christian nationalism and the what?
And the Jews.
Do you know what? Christian nationalism, it is bringing back Christianity to the nation. I remember the first pope, he joined the church and state because he thought that he'll be able to bring solutions to the state. And once when the church and state come together, what happens? There is persecution follows.
For those who are going to be true to God.
And this innocent brother, I think he was used greatly. This newspaper was talking about this. He was used greatly to bring
the American experience.
Yeah, that's why they say needs Christians to be better Christians. And he did what he did. I do not know whether he knew the script was followed or not, but the truth of the matter is he propagated a certain ideology of bringing back the Christianity back. Unfortunately, did what? He died. And we saw after his death, the whole Protestant America came together, lamented the killings, and said it is time now to do what? To work. Let me tell you, the devil is doing on the opposite. Remember persecution? The death of one was like, the death of a martyr was like a revival of Christianity. Now, this is false. The death of a false revivalist is like a revival of what? Of false Christianity. But let me tell you, these people are sincere. Ellen White says they're sincere. They are doing this thinking that they are bringing change. But let me tell you, they will come to realize very later that what happened. There's a lot about Charlie Kirk we can talk, but we're being told one of the subject of white Christian nationalism, that's who Charlie was. So he was bringing the white Christianity together. I'm horrified by what happened, but I'm not bringing Rugelach to Shiva. He was not our friend. That reaction got at something I hear in the liberal church, Jewish circles, denunciation of Christian nationalism, usually without much nuance or understanding of what term it covers. Is all Christian nationally the same? Was Kirk really advocating for the overthrow of our democracy and constitution in favor of a biblical theocratic state straight out of the Handmaid's Tale? This is what we've just explained. So Ellen White says this, that as we approach the last crisis, vital moment and harmony and unity exist among Lord instrumentalities. The world is filled with storm, war, and variance, yet under one head, the purple power, the people unite to oppose God in position of his witness. This union is cemented by what? The great apostasy. This is what apostasy is bringing. The Protestant America, forming the image of the beast. It is cementing the union of the papacy and its ideologies so that it can be able to come into shape. And then they say that the law enforcing the observance of Sunday as the Sabbath will bring about national apostasy from the principles of what? Republicanism, upon which the government has been founded. So we are seeing Republican government playing into place its ideologies. The religion of the papacy will be accepted by the what? The rulers, and the law of God will be made void. So when we see Trump inviting the Pope, we are seeing that God's law is about to be made void, and we need to wake up as his people. Now,
as you are looking at, before we go,
Okay,
before
okay.
we just go, when you look at Charlie, Charlie was advocating for many wonderful things. I don't know if he knew about whatever was happening in the playbook, but he advocated for many things. One of them was Sabbath keeping. And when he died, there's a book that he had wrote, which was to be released. It was released this month when he was already dead. It is talking about the Sabbath rest, because he said that he heard about the Sabbath, and most of the people, they were saying that if he had stayed long enough, he could have been an Adventist, or he could have been a Sabbath keeper. But he used to say that he used to keep the Sabbath. He used to switch off his phone from Friday sunset to Sabbath to Sabbath sunset. So when you look at the book that he wrote, there are many things that he wrote, because, you know, of course, there are things that he had not understood because he never read the spirit of prophecy.
Yes.
But according to his knowledge, he never saw anything wrong with people going to church on Sunday. He was saying, if you can rest on Sabbath, you can be reset. Your body can be reset. So this Charlie Cook, he was a very young person who was energetic, and he used to go to the grassroots. That's why you see during his funeral, President Trump saying, had it not been for him, he could have not won, because this is a young man who did his groundwork to go to universities, to campaign for Trump, and to teach the people about the values of Christianity, about against LGBTQI, against abortion, against gun violence, against all these things. But unfortunately, he died defending those things that he used to believe. So we are seeing that when the death of Charlie Cook, in fact, brought America together, especially the Christian community, they came together. Everyone was saying that now it's high time that we bring back America to God, because you see what is happening because of this gun violence. This is what is happening. So there's a lot that after his death, there's a lot of things that have happened as a result of his death. And we are seeing that everything is being followed like to the T, following what he was saying. They say now we have in honor of Charlie, we have to do this. In honor of Charlie, we have to do that. We have to change this law. We have to bring Christianity. We have to bring Bibles into every home. So there's a lot that is happening. His death, by the way, it was a big thing in 2025, because when he died, even when I was watching those videos, even the places where they don't have Christianity, let me say, like North Korea, you'd see that there were people who went to the street, they started worshiping God. For the first time, that there are places where they don't even know about God, but it was a bombshell that everyone suddenly woke up.
A modern revival, though, those are the things,
Yes.
if you read the topic by Ellen White on Great Controversy, these are modern revivals. Also, this is what Trump was doing in 2017. And we are seeing it. I brought this so that we can be able to see what happened. Trump promises evangelical pastors, we are going to get your voice back. So we are seeing he promised, and down there it says he explained how he learned about the so-called Johnson Amendment proposed by Lyndon Johnson in 1954. The amendment changed the tax code to bar tax-exempt groups from endorsing political candidates, otherwise preaching politics from the pulpit. So he has to overturn this, and we are seeing this happened as it was doed, as it was happened. So this I brought it so that we can be able to see what he has been advocating and the result of Charlie Kirk. Says Donald Trump to bring back power back to the evangelicals by repealing Johnson Amendment. This we are seeing in GC 445 talking with the leading churches in America, coming together, following the dogmas of Catholicism, then the image of the beast.
And when you look at Johnson Amendment, it's
In the given
simply
life, yeah.
it is simply the separation of church
Church
and state.
Yes.
But now Trump says that he's going to repeal it
Mm.
so that church and state can come together.
So on this, we are told that Illinois says that as religious aggression subverts the liberties of our nation, those who stand for the freedom of conscience will be placed in unfavorable position. For their own sake, they should, while have opportunity, become intelligent to do what? To disease its causes, its prevention and cure. And those who do this will find a field of labor anywhere. There'll be suffering ones, plenty of them, who will need help, not only among those of our faith, but largely among those who know not the truth. The shortness of time demands an energy that has not been aroused among those who claim to believe present truth. So we are being told that when we are seeing this religious aggression, which is taking away the liberties of our nation, the liberty of freedom of expression of religion, we need to learn medical missionary work. Why? That is the only way we'll pass this message. Liberties will be taken away, we'll not be able to talk in public, and my brothers and sisters, we need to learn this. Now, another character that came into the scene, this around mid-year, around September, Jonathan Berry, I think you've heard of him, and he's confirmed as the solicitor of what? Of labor. And when you look at the Project 2025 on the topic of labor, where they're advocating for Sabbath rest to be on Sunday, he was the greatest contributor. So we are seeing Trump refusing people, or rather the Project 2025, but the people that were writing them, they are coming into the scene. Mm-hmm. And look what he's saying. Jonathan Berry wants a what? A Sunday law. So nominee for your solicitor of labor has repeatedly stated that his goal is to instate Sunday law. So this is what he said in Project 2025. God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest until very recently, the Judeo-Christian tradition sought to honor that mandate by moral and legal regulation to work on that day. Congress shall include communal rest by amending the Fair Labor Standards Act to require that workers to be paid time and a half for hours worked on Sabbath. That day will default to what? Sunday. So you, instead of going to work, you'll be paid. So what will people do? They'll follow that, except for employers with a sincere religious observance of a Sabbath at a different time, Friday, sundown to Sunday, the obligation will transfer to that period instead. So he is coming. Who are going to be working on Sundays, yes, to be paid time and a half. Yes. So we are seeing he's an advocate of Sunday law. Mm-hmm. And Project 2025 on 5989, it talks about what? About rest. And by the way, you know, it is so coincidental that 589 Great Controversy talks about the liberty of conscience threatened. It talks about 589, 591. It talks about that, how they're going to liberty. I don't know whether it's coincidence. But anyway, what we are seeing, this character has been on the forefront in various forums, in various podiums, in various conferences, advocating for this. And let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, this will fall into place. We know Revelation 12:18. Revelation chapter 13, sorry, 15, up to the last verse, talking about that no man will buy or sell save he that have the mark of the beast. So the issue of him working will be brought into place by worshiping on Sunday. So it's another character we need to look very keenly. We are going to cover maybe next week. Democrats shut down. This is another thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
The government, for a record, 43 days. It has never happened. And do you know something so funny? Trump signed spending bill to end the longest shutdown in US history. And do you know it paralyzed the planes? It paralyzed the airport services. Flights were rescheduled. A lot of government parastatals, or rather institutions, were paralyzed in a way. And let me tell you, it is not the end. It talks about why Trump is doing that, and we're going to see that very soon. That Trump, not the Trump, actual Democrats are wanting to bring back again. We're going to see this thing is not the end. And let me tell you, this thing devalued the currency of America currency. It devalued the business. It devalued the relations. And this thing, my brothers and sisters, when it is coming into place, it scared a lot of us because we prayed God, let this thing not happen. Why? Because it could have brought a civil war. How the US has used tariffs throughout history and why Trump is different, economists say. You know, let me tell you, before a decree was passed in Luke 2 verse 1, there was a what? People were taxed, isn't it? They were brought together to be taxed, and a decree was made. Do you know all the wars, all the wars, all the differences that have been there is tax. Even in Kenya, what has happened the other day, it is because of tax. People started to do what? To do protest. And we are being told immediately after that, this is what brought the shutdown. Part of it is scrapped tariffs on beef, coffee, and tropical fruit in a push to lower grocery prices. But let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, in the midst of it, people and the newspapers started saying, are we at the beginning of what? The next civil war. Do you remember the quotation by Ellen White in 5 MR 3 or 4? It talks about starvation to the poorer classes. And this will lead to a what?
To a civil war.
To a civil war. Starvation. What happened in America? The food stamps, they call the food stamp. They've never, the taxes that were removed from them, they came back and the food prices skyrocketed. So these are the things. It happened even in the French Revolution. We're going to see this. We're being told for years, despite the partisan fighting, I've been very dismissive of the idea that our country will become entangled in another civil war, but unfortunately, we might be in the early stages of what this Trump saying. And in the beginning, he says, I was wrong. So this is coming and we need to be ready. And you know what? Look, this, what happened in the American Revolution was an epic political military struggle between 1765 to 1783 when the British North American colonies rejected the imperial rule. The poorest began in opposition to what? To taxes levied without colonial representation by the British monarch and parliament. It happened also in the 17th when America was becoming as a nation. It happened in the first Civil War, and let me tell you, taxes are going to play a big role in the second Civil War. And we need to be ready. We need to be brave. So my brothers and sisters, we need to be ready. We need to be ready. Look, we are being told taxes are for the rich. Ellen White talks about this. I'm trying to rush because of time. That at the same time, anarchy is seeking to sweep away all law, and not only divine but human. The centralizing of wealth and power, the vast combinations for the enriching of the few at the expense of the many, the combination of the poorer classes for the defense of their interests and claims. This is the poorer fighting because of the taxes, the spirit of unrest, riot, and bloodshed. The worldwide dissemination of the same teachings that led to the French Revolution are tending to involve the whole world in a similar struggle to that which converged in France. The issue was taxes between the majority class and the minority classes, the introduction of taxes, punitive taxes, brought a lot of things. What brought during the time of Jesus taxes? When Zacchaeus was overtaxing people and eating the money, and let me tell you, had he not refunded the money, there was a chaotic time during that time. This has been in history. Taxes has always brought things. So the other name for tariff is what? Is taxes. Look, this is during that time of Lincoln. Imagine in the first Civil War, no taxation without representation, the evolution of historic phase. So tax on tea, $3 per pound. This is what they're saying, and it happened during that time. It is happening again. Taxes are going to bring the Civil War, the National Sunday Law. This is the same thing I explained, that that it brought issues of the Civil War, British. Between the British introduced taxes in America because they're the ones who tried to bring the changes. And let me tell you, we're being told here until the Stamp Act of 1765, some taxes were proposed and others were enacted and withdrawn. This was the first tax imposed directly on the 13 American colonies. Benjamin Franklin testified before the parliament that tax was too high and that the colonies had already done more than enough to support the French and Indian War, that the same year, the group known as the Sons of Liberty was established. So there was a war. And this war, they saw that the only way to get money is by taxing the people. Is there a political war in our country? Is there a religious war? Is there an economic war? The only way that people are going to uprise, it is because of the taxes that they are being done or being imposed. It is a very serious thing. We cannot have time to read the whole of it. So this is somebody called Howard Straw. He's talking about the Second Civil War. On the second paragraph, he says the very survival of a nation will feel at stake. Sometime before the year 2025, America will pass a great gate of history, commensurate with the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the twin emergencies of the Great Depression and World War II. Are we seeing the American Revolution sometime before the year 2025? Yes. Are we seeing this happening? We've seen it. Are we seeing the high imposition of taxes? Yes, we've seen them. Are people complaining because of that, and that's what brought the government shutdown? Yes, it is happening right on time. And this, my brothers and sisters, we need to pray to God, because if this thing continue to happen everywhere in our countries, whether in Tanzania, whether in America, whether in Uganda, this is the thing. And this is happening right in the month of October, going to October or November. We're going to see next week how the Venezuela law or war, how is it leading to prophecy, and among other things. So we are being told, in India, China, and Russia, and the cities of America, thousands of men and women are dying of starvation. Man in men because of their what? Or it continues down there because of their quest to obtain rich. They will be able to initiate a civil war because of kukanyagiliwa, or rather being pushed to the corner so that they can be able to do what? To initiate more taxes. Look, it is not yet over. Democrat, this is December 22nd, threatened another government shutdown amid tensions with what? With Trump. So my brothers and sisters, this is not yet over. The issue still, high taxes. The livelihood of the people is at stake. Do you remember in 1 Samuel 9, when the people of God rejected the judges, what happened? God gave the repercussions. And one of the repercussions was that they will be highly taxed. We accepted a form of government made for the people and by the people that was not godly. And we rejected a form of government that these initiatives were not there. And from that time, man has been suffering. From one regime being lied to another regime, that things will be better, but not better again. We're being told that Senate Democrats are threatening another government shutdown next month. That is in January. amid the ongoing tension we're going to see next week between the Congress and President Donald Trump. This was a government shutdown earlier this year to Congress, not able to pass the budget to keep it funded. There'll be another shutdown late in January if the problem occurs. There was an opportunity to pass what? The package before December 25, but the Democrats in the Senate rejected, arguing that because Trump threatened to dismantle the National Center of Atmospheric Research Boulder, Colorado, if the spending package did pass, the federal government will have been funded 85 to 90 through September, according to Hill newspaper. The Senate already left for a 2-week Christmas break. What if they decide now, because the Democrats are blocking them not to get money, what if they decide to tax more people? What if it happens? Are we seeing or smelling something? Will it not bring another war? We pray that God will hold the war. Now look, this is another thing that we're going to cover. This is the brother of Pope Leo the 14th. Look what he says. He's not ours anymore. Pope Leo the 14th's brother, on seeing the Pope in the making, he's saying, this is not the Pope that we knew. This is not the brother that we knew. Things are changing. When he entered the office, they never understood him. And let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, he's no longer theirs. It belongs none to none other than the devil, because in Revelation chapter 13, verse 3, he says that he obtains his power and his seat and authority from the dragon himself. He's not ours anymore. What does this mean? We're going to cover this. Very prophetic. Another thing, the next pandemic is around the corner. Expert warn, but will the lockdown ever happen? Do you know, I want you to go and research, and we're going to cover it next week. Go research. They are doing drills. There's an epidemic that is coming. We need to pray and ask God. It is called Experiment Pegasus. Go look, exercise Pegasus. It is all over the internet. They are doing a respiratory. Masks are being worn and they are doing rehearsal. In the UK, they did it the other day. It is called the Exercise Pegasus or the Experiment Pegasus. I don't know whether that is the new pandemic, they call it that way. We are going to cover it next week. What does it mean to us? What are the things that we need to be ready? Things are happening right in the front of our eyes, and the pandemic is next to the corner. But we're going to wind up. We're not going to cover this because of time. Let's wind up. Ellen White says this, that the decree, which is to go forth against the people of God, will be very similar to that issued by Ahasuerus against the Jews in the time of Esther. Did the people of God suffer during that time? Yes. Were they killed? Yes. Who do we need? We need an Esther. Esther is a woman representation of a remnant church, the remaining church that is going to save us. Are we going to have that remnant? Are the people of God going to be bought? Money was exchanged. There was some money into the coffers, the taxes. The Persian edict sprang from the malice of Haman towards Mordecai. Not that Mordecai had done him harm, but he had refused to show him reverence, which belongs to only God. If we're not going to show reverence to the system, then we are going to do what? To have the Hamans against us. The king's decision against the Jews secured was under false pretense and misrepresentation. Did it happen even during the time of Stephen? It happened. There were false accusers against Stephen, and Stephen was stoned because of false accusers. Same thing is going to happen. We are being told Satan instigated the scheme in order to get rid of those who preserve the knowledge of the true God, but his plots were defeated by a counterpower that reigns among the children of men. Are we going to stand? That's the issue. Are we going to stand like the martyrs of the old for the truth that was foretold, for the truth that was laid before them? These are questions we need to ask. And we're being told, my brothers and sisters, we need to pray to God. This is solemn. This is very solemn. We're being told that those who engage in this solemn work of bearing the third angel's message must move decidedly in the spirit and fire of God, fearlessly to preach the truth and let it cut. This is the time husband has to stand alone. This is the time wife has to stand alone. This is the time children have to stand alone, no one will stand on behalf of the other one. We need to wake up. We need to stand for the truth that is before us. We are being told they should elevate the standard of truth and urge the people to come up to it. It has too frequently been lowered to meet the people in their condition of darkness and sin. It is pointed testimony that will bring them up to decide. We need to be pointed for the Sabbath truth. We need to be pointed in health reform. If we can't be able to compromise at this hour, how shall we stand at that hour? It will be too late. It will be too difficult for us to stand because we've not stood for God. We're being told a peaceful testimony will not do this. The people have the privilege of listening to this kind of teaching from the popular pulpits that, oh, Jesus is not coming soon, or that we need to continue things in the new normal. That's what they say. We need to work hard for ourselves. We're being told that the people have the privilege of listening to this kind of teaching from the popular pulpits, but those servants to whom God has entrusted the solemn, fearful message, which is to bring out and fit the people for the coming of Christ, should bear a plain, pointed testimony. Our truth is as much more solid than that of true nominal professors, as the heavens are higher than earth. We can never compromise in any of these truths. So, my brothers and sisters, we need to wake up. We need to stand up. We need to shake off sin out of our lives before it is too late. So, may God bless you. Join us next week. We're going to have a program 2025, 2026 and beyond. What are the things that the devil has planned for us, and what is our role as Christians? What are the preparations we need? Join us next week. Same channel, YouTube channel, Eric Osoro. We're going to live stream there on other platforms, and may God richly bless you. And what I can tell you, make your family ready. Make yourself ready before the crisis breaks. Let's pray. Our Father and Lord, we thank you for this hour. Indeed, so much happened in 2025, and we could not cover everything. We just covered the glimpse. Before one thing happened, the other thing will happen. We need to pray like never before. We are indolent. We are lazy, Lord. We've not been prayerful. That's why, Lord, the devil is working extra hour, because he knows that his time is short. And us who know the truth, us who have been having the truth, we are slumbering. Help us, teach us, and prepare us for your soon return. Time is running out. Probation is fast closing, and none of us is ready. Help us. Hasten our feet, that, Lord, we may be able to make ready all things for the crisis. Let us make things haste for the crisis, and may be prepared for your soon return. Bless us. Keep us safe. Continue to guide us in every way possible. And may the love of Jesus continue to shine upon us. For we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. So may God bless you. For those who've joined late, we apologize for that. Go to our YouTube page, Eric Osoro, ERIC Osoro, OSORO. You can see you can be able to see whatever we covered. We need to get ready. We need to get ready. We need to get ready before it is too late. May God bless you. May God keep you, my brothers and sisters. Let us shine our light. Let us shine the light that God has given us, because we know, my brothers and sisters, if we are not going to stand firm, if we are not going to wake up at this hour, we are going to regret. And my prayer is that we be ready before it is too late. May God bless you. May you have a happy Sabbath. Let us continue to pray. Let us continue to have the word of God in our hearts, so that we can be able to stand for the faith that was once delivered for ourselves. May God bless you.